Right, so as promised, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the gory details of getting a coil inserted. Today, it's going to be the MIRENA coil because that's my experience. I've had 2 coils now. I had one when I was in my 20s for about 5 years, and I just had one a few weeks ago. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of pros and cons and the reasoning because I've got a whole post on the grid, so if you really want to look at that kind of side of things, the risks and the benefits, go and take a look at that on the grid. Tomorrow I'm going to talk to you about the reason that I decided to have one again, but today it's just the gory details. So what can you expect when you go and have the coil inserted? Well, it's going to be different depending on A, your situation, your gynae situation, and B, where you are in the world and what the policy is. So the first time I had it done in my 20s, it was in the UK, and it was during a surgery for endo. So I was under anaesthetic, I was having keyhole surgery, and they implanted the device during that surgery. Which was great because why would you not want to have that sorted whilst you're already having to have anaesthetic? So I didn't know anything about it, the actual insertion process. I wasn't aware of it. I honestly can't remember too much about after, the effects of immediately after, but I can tell you what's happened this time. So let's get into that. So here in Malta, where I live now, you actually go and purchase the coil from the pharmacy. It's about €200, bit of a bummer. And then you go to the hospital and you have it inserted. So mine actually got cancelled. The insertion got cancelled the first time around because of the pandemic, and there was a medical strike. But we went a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, there was a 5-hour wait because there was an emergency situation apparently and some other complications. I did have my partner with me, and on that note, for any kind of gynae situation at all, just think about whether or not you want to have that other person with you, whether they're going to make you feel calmer and more settled or whether they're going to stress you out, because my boyfriend wasn't very impressed by the oh look, my cat's just knocked something off the wall, that's brilliant. He wasn't that impressed by the weight, and although it was lovely to have him there, absolutely brilliant. In hindsight, if I'd known that the weight was going to be like that, I maybe would have gone it alone for the stress levels. But regardless, any kind of stress will make the procedure a little bit less pleasant, as you know, because it's already not very pleasant. So once we were in the room, I had a really efficient, really quick, really nice doctor who didn't kind of mess around. He just got straight on with it, and I really enjoy that because that's kind of what you want in this situation. It is painful, so if anybody tells you that they've had the coil and they couldn't feel it, or they weren't very aware of it, then really, or lucky them maybe. In my case, and this may be the same for you, because of my endo and I've got 2 very, very large fibroids, the kind of canal and also the uterus is kind of flattened by these kind of tumours coming in from the side. So I wasn't looking forward to it. Luckily, I didn't have anaesthetic because that would have just added to the whole kind of situation. Yeah, it was painful. It's not the worst thing in the world, and if you've got endo, you're probably familiar with it, and it's not forever. There was acute pain. What they actually do is they insert it with like an applicator, and then they pause, exposing the end of the coil, and that's when the little T like hands pop out, which is pretty cool, I think, or arms, legs, whatever. So there's a little bit of a pause in the procedure, and then they kind of go the rest of the way and then insert it fully. In this case, he also did an ultrasound to check on location because, Jesus, my cat is using the table as a climbing frame, which is really useful. Yeah, so an ultrasound can be used to check the placement, to check that it's embedded in exactly the right location, which is great. And it was, and there we go. So typically there is bleeding afterwards. I did have bleeding for about 3 or 4 days. It wasn't particularly heavy. It wasn't different colour to normal. It was kind of fresh red kind of blood. And I had kind of swelling and discomfort for about a week and a half, but that's just natural. It's an inflammatory response. If you think about it, you've got a foreign object in your womb. There's going to be some inflammation, isn't there? It's obvious. But with the progesterone, that should settle down, and mine has. It's completely. I'm not aware of it whatsoever. It's about 2 weeks or so now. So another thing that you may or may not experience, I felt really, really down, like really, really low mood for the first week to 7 days, and really knackered, like exhausted. And that's just, you've got like a synthetic hormone in your body. So your hormones are changing. It's like a transition phase. It's really gonna settle down, or almost certainly gonna settle down. And mine has, and I feel pretty good now. So that's something to think about. It might be a little bit rough for a week or so. And then another thing really random is I've noticed that I've got BO since having the coil. So not like normally particularly sweaty. Oh, fly, nice. Well, in Malta I am super sweaty because it's really freaking hot. But I certainly am not a particularly smelly person. But now I am. Awesome. And my theory about that is just that you've got a synthetic hormone again, like in your body. Your liver has to detoxify that and deal with it, and it's bound to cause some kind of, like a byproduct is bound to be causing this kind of reaction. So I don't know. I'll let you know if it settles down. Honestly, I have no idea. But if you do have an idea about why that happens, please let me know, because I'd be absolutely fascinated to find out. As I say, I think it's probably the synthetic hormone and the detoxification process, but not a bonus, unfortunately. So I don't think I'm going to be ovulating, and therefore I don't think I'm going to be having periods, because I didn't the first time that I had the coil, but I might be wrong. No sign yet of anything else since the insertion. And yeah, I'll keep you posted. So tomorrow I'm going to talk a bit more about the decision process, things that you might consider, and the reasons why I decided to have it done. Because really interestingly, some of you got in touch and said, "Oh, I'm really surprised, Kat, that you wanted to have that coil because it's synthetic hormones, and I know you're really against that." And so I wanted to tomorrow I'm going to talk to you all about that decision, and why do I want that, and it's different for everyone, isn't it? It really is different for everyone, but yeah, we'll go into the ins and outs of that. And as I say, if you want to know more about the pros and cons of the coil and exactly how it works and why you might use it for endo and heavy periods, just check out that article on the grid.